Welcome to Half to Four. Today in the show, a total financial robbery of the fans. The World Cup 2026 has been officially recognized as the most expensive in football history, and Donald Trump refuses to pay for tickets. The grand deception of Florentino Perez, why $150 million for Julian Alvarez turned out to be an ordinary fake. Also today, Tottenham takes Brazilian star Savinho from Manchester City, and how Nico Williams found himself in a golden cage of Bilbao while Michael Olise tears Europe apart. We talk about all this and much more right now. How much does it cost to see the World Cup final with your own eyes? An official ticket of the first category for the decisive match costs a crazy $10,990 But these are small potatoes compared to the unofficial resellers market. They're the cheapest lot for the final game in May, when at least for $9,200, and the most expensive hold-on tight someone cynically listed for $11,499,998.55. Welcome to the World Cup of the year 2026, which has been officially recognized as the most expensive tournament in football history, with a simply astronomical margin from all previous World Cups. The freshest data analysis confirms that the International Federation of Association Football set absolutely unbearable financial barriers. Even the cheapest tickets of the third category for the group stage matches start from $140 to $1,400, and the minimum public ticket is fixed at the mark of $120. FIFA applied a strict system of dynamic pricing. Depending on demand, the cost of passes for 95 out of 104 matches of the tournament grew arbitrarily by 35%. A ticket of the first category for the final officially soared from $6,730 in October to $8,680 in December, and further to $10,990 in April. This is 4 times more expensive than at the final in Qatar of the year 2022, where a ticket cost $425. And if we compare with the World Cup of the year 1994, which was also hosted by the United States of America, and where the most expensive seat cost $475, then in 32 years, the price grew 23 times. Even Donald Trump, who has close relations with FIFA President Gianni Infantino, publicly stated that he is not going to pay $1,000 for an ordinary seat in the nosebleed section of the stadium. In addition, logistics completely crushes the fans. The railway company NJ Transit announced that on match days, the train from Penn Station to MetLife Stadium will cost $150 both ways instead of the usual $13. This is more expensive than a pass for a whole match in '94. Parallelly, hotels within a radius of 25 miles raised prices on average by 55%, and in Kansas City and Guadalajara, prices jumped at least twofold. Add here the paid pre-order of parking near the stadiums from $100 to $300 in American fast food, $30 for a lobster sandwich, or $19 for chicken tenders in Miami. It got to the point where the prosecutors' offices of New York and New Jersey have already officially opened an investigation against FIFA regarding fraudulent ticket sales practices, and the leader of the international fan group, Rafael Baquero, summarized, "This is the most expensive World Cup in history, by a wide margin in every sense. My opinion? What FIFA and the American organizers arranged around this World Cup is complete madness and an outright robbery of ordinary people, which looks simply wild. I perfectly understand that the United States of America is an expensive country, and the tournament itself is massive. But when the large associations, Euro Consumers and Football Supporters Europe, officially complained to the European Commission, accusing FIFA of 6 gross violations, including the mass advertising of cheap tickets for $60, which in reality barely exist. This is no longer a market. This is a total financial manipulation. Football has always been a game for millions, but in the year 2026, they are turning the World Cup into an elite closed show for the chosen ones." This whole crazy story around the official transfer inquiry of Real turned out to be a grand manipulation and a cheap illusion and Florentino Perez simply cynically deceived the football world for the sake of his own presidential elections. Literally, after the re-election of Perez as president of the Royal Club, the Madrid side released an official press release stating that they sent Atletico a record offer regarding the purchase of Argentine forward Julian Alvarez for the crazy sum of 150 million euros. Don Florentino, during the election campaign, passionately promised to sign a new elite Galacticos, and with this message, seemed to keep his word to the electorate. At first, everyone thought that the mysterious squad priority of Madrid would be the star winger of Bayern, Michael Olise, for whom Perez was just preparing this 150 million check. However, the Munich side sharply cut off. "We do not sell," snubbing even the first attempts of a banal phone call from Spain. To urgently save his own reputation and not look like a total windbag, Perez had to urgently imitate frantic activity and point a finger at Alvarez to somehow close the topic of the transfer bomb before the fans. The authoritative Argentine journalist Gaston Edul and the leading Spanish TV show El Chiringuito completely revealed the closed mechanics of this deception. A real legal offer did not exist at all. The management of the Royal Club actually just called the office of Atletico by phone to formally ask about the player, after which Madrid immediately published a press release about the refusal, which nobody asked them to make public. The bosses of the Colchoneros were so shocked and outraged by this public lie of the neighbors that they instantly reacted in the social network X with 5 laughing emojis, and in addition released a lot of harsh text where they publicly snubbed Real. But the most interesting thing in this strategy of Perez is the attempt to simultaneously completely screw over Catalan Barcelona. Understanding that the forward is the transfer target number 1 for Joan Laporta, and Julian Alvarez himself wants to play exclusively at the Camp Nou, Don Florentino used this fake to artificially inflate the price, block the negotiations of the Catalans, and completely destroy their path to signing the world champion. Moreover, the icing on this cynical cake was the fact that on the exact same day as the pseudo-offer, Real officially sent a document to UEFA demanding an urgent investigation of Barcelona due to the Negreira court case. This is how cleanly they closed the topic of their own transfer failure and parallelly stabbed a knife into the back of the main enemy. On the transfer market of Spain, an absolutely incredible madness is happening right now. Listen, I do not know if this is ingenious or simply cynical. Perez was re-elected, promised a star, received a harsh refusal from Bayern, then put on a show with Atletico for the sake of headlines, and parallelly laid a mine under Barcelona. This is either brilliant PR or football has turned into a theater. I lean toward the second. Tottenham has entered the final stage of negotiations regarding the transfer of 22-year-old Brazilian winger of Manchester City, Savinho. The clubs are finalizing the distribution of bonus payments, after which the player will head for a medical examination. Let us break down why Enzo Maresca agreed to let the football player go, what financial conditions of the contract the Londoners have already blocked, and whose sale will help the Spurs completely cover this solid player investment. According to our information, the key details of this deal are as follows. Tottenham reactivated negotiations that collapsed last summer due to the unwillingness of Manchester City to let the player go. Currently, the situation has changed, as Savinho could not become a starting player in the system of City, scoring only 7 goals since the moment of his transfer. Italian journalist Nicola Schira reported that the Spurs have already reached a principled agreement regarding a personal contract with the Brazilian. Savinho agreed to a long-term deal that will be calculated until 2031. His salary will amount to around £120,000 a week. The star himself desires this transfer, as the new head coach of the Londoners, Roberto De Zerbi, promised him an undisputed place in the starting 11 and a leading role in the tactical rebuilding of the attack. The clubs are at an advanced stage of negotiations. The transfer sum will amount to from 55 to 60 million pounds. The need for a powerful right winger arose due to the sale of Brennan Johnson in January, and also due to serious injuries to Wilson Odobert and Mohamed Kudus. Parallelly with the signing of Savinho, the management of the Londoners is deciding the future of Richarlison, who is actively targeted by Everton and Juventus. His sale can partially cover the expenses on the Brazilian newcomer from Manchester. My opinion? This transfer is a maximally pragmatic and logical step for both sides. Tottenham promptly closes the squad deficit on the flank of the attack, getting a technical player for the system of Roberto De Zerbi. Manchester City instead earns £60 million on a football player who never fit into the tactical setups of Pep Guardiola. Friends, if you have watched up to this moment, then subscribe to the channel. It is not hard for you, and it is pleasant for us. And while you are subscribing, we move on. By the way, more about Real. The Royal Club plans to give its Argentine wonder kid Franco Mastantuono on loan immediately after the end of the summer. As reported by insider Matteo Moretto, the bosses of the club want to ensure steady progress for the player. Which exact European giant has already become the undisputed favorite in this race? What answer from the player himself is expected in the near future? And why is this choice considered ideal? We talk about this right now. The main contender for the Argentine is Lisbon's Benfica. According to the publications Marca and Ebola, it is the Lisbon Eagles who are the absolute favorites to loan Franco Mastantuono for the full season 2026-2027. The management of Real maintains excellent relations with the prestigious giant and considers Lisbon the best incubator for young South American talents. Examples of Enzo Fernandez or Angel Di Maria prove this 100%. In the squad of Benfica, the Argentine is guaranteed to get stable playing practice and a place in European competitions. An additional plus will be the practically absent language barrier, similar culture, and mild climate, which will allow the teenager to undergo rapid adaptation to European football before returning to Real. Catalan Barcelona has completely agreed the terms of a 6-year contract with Nico Williams, and the official release clause sum of €58 million was completely agreed between the parties. It seemed that the mega transfer was already a done fact, but the whole question ran into the exact form and what payments this money would fall on the table of the management of Bilbao. Let us break down how one wrong managerial decision can completely destroy the career of one of the most promising football players of our time, why Athletic completely missed out by refusing European giants, and how the market value of the Spaniard catastrophically collapsed after this. Let us immediately look at Michael Olise and Nico Williams. This is an ideal textbook opposite. The Olise case is a vivid demonstration of what happens when a player breaks out of the comfort zone in time for the sake of a constant struggle at the highest level. Data analysis from The Athletic, StatMuse, and fresh ratings of goal regarding contenders for the Ballon d'Or of the year 2026 shows a simply cosmic level of efficiency of the Frenchman after the transition from Crystal Palace to Bayern. The figures of Michael became not just elite, but the best in Europe, turning him into the main architect of the attack. In the championship season of the Bundesliga 2025-2026, the 24-year-old Olise recorded 15 goals and 19 assists in 32 matches. He dragged Bayern to the semifinals of the Champions League, where he tore the defense of PSG apart, and literally yesterday, on June 8th, 2026, recorded a splendid hat-trick for the national team of France in a friendly match against Northern Ireland. Olise officially burst into the top 5 main favorites for the Ballon d'Or of the year 2026, according to Goal and Planet Football. Even his star partner Harry Kane publicly recognized Michael as his main competitor in the fight for the award, and club legend Thomas Muller stated that it is precisely the magical quality of Olise to create moments out of nothing that will be decisive in the voting. In essence, the fate of the trophy will now be decided on the fields of the World Championship in North America, where Michael will be a key figure for the French. Why could Nico have been in his place, but tightly missed out? Last summer, their starting positions were very similar. Both were explosive, technical wingers with a crazy potential. The difference is only in one managerial decision. Olise chose a challenge and competition, going to a team where every match is pressure and other world-class stars play in your position. The result is a 100% percentile for key passes and assists in Europe, the status of one of the most expensive players in the world, and a real chance to get the Ballon d'Or. But Nico Williams chose the comfort of a golden cage. While the lawyers of Joan Laporta were trying to solve the issue of the financial trap of La Liga, where the release clause sum of 58 million euros had to be paid exclusively in 100% single payment at once without tranches, Barcelona, due to the crisis and salary limit, got stuck in attempts to reach an agreement. At this time, the management of Bilbao convinced Nico to stay. His salary was raised, a crazy long-term contract was signed, and he was made the highest-paid player of the team with a net salary of over 10 million euros a year. Last summer, Bayern and Arsenal also seriously fought for the Spaniard, and the total sum of offers hovered around 80 million euros. However, the Basques blocked all negotiations, blindly believing in their ideology, where keeping an academy graduate is more important than any checks with a bunch of zeros. The result of this risk turned out to be a complete playing and financial collapse. The 23-year-old winger banally lost tournament motivation. The dry statistics of Williams in the last difficult season look frankly miserable. Only 6 goals and 7 assists in 32 matches in all competitions. In La Liga itself, he produced 6 goals and 3 assists in 25 matches, and absolutely did not affect the team's results. Most of the spring, the football player spent in the infirmary due to muscle injuries, missing 19 matches, and Athletic itself completely failed, shamefully finishing in 12th place in the La Liga table. The market value of Nico Williams himself expectedly plummeted from 70 million euros to 40 million, and the total price tag of the club's squad shrank from 370 million euros to 229 million. So, the case of Nico Williams against the rise of Michael Olise proves that in modern football you need to be able to let go of your leaders in time. The management of Athletic from Bilbao tightly overthought with their philosophy and completely missed out. The bosses of the Basques behaved as if they blindly believed that they did not need 80 million euros due to the inability to sign a foreign star as a replacement. But let us face the truth. Olise chose a challenge at Bayern and became a world-class superstar. And Williams chose the golden cage, got a crazy long contract, minus 30 million euros from his former market value, and complete stagnation in a team that trails in 12th place. Having the same 80 million euros in the budget, the Basques could completely upgrade their own academy, where a young, hungry graduate for a minimal salary would run the season with exactly the same modest statistics of 6 goals, but would chew the turf for a chance in the starting 11. And what do you think, friends? Will Nico ever be able to get out of this trap of Bilbao? Leave your comments under this video. Friends, thank you for watching, and if you liked the episode, do not spare a like and subscribe.